Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Lauren Vestal. She is a coach at Symmetry, and she helps achieving busy professionals take back control of their lives to find some more time, more energy, and less stress. Welcome to the show, Lauren.
Thanks, AJ. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome to the show, Lauren. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We will be talking about living a stress free and energetic life. Who doesn't want that? Everyone wants that. But everyone has to work for that. Not everyone will be able to move from Manhattan to Memphis. So that is what it takes. So we will understand your story from Manhattan to Memphis. In that backdrop, we will understand about stress, about yoga, about fashion industry. So tell us about your story, how you got rid of yoga, rid of stress, found yoga, and found your reclaimed back your life.
Yeah, thank you. So as you said, I moved from Manhattan to Memphis, gosh, at the end of 2015. So it's been a while at this point. But I started taking yoga when I was in college, just as a PE credit. I played soccer all through college and found that it was, obviously a nice workout and stretch and everything like that. But there was this presence and mindfulness that I got from it as well that I wasn't really anticipating. So I stuck with that practice, all through living in Manhattan and found a great studio here in Memphis when I moved and became a teacher as well. And that kind of led me into the breathwork path, which is what we focus on at Symmetry, and more from a scientific perspective. So talking about the mechanics of proper breathing and how that can really affect the nervous system to keep you calm.
Right, right, Lauren. So, to understand this thing called stress, we all know about it. But where does this stress come from? Does it come from a place where we can run from, where we can run from? Does it come from people around us? Does it come from within us? Help us understand so that we deal. I'm sure you must have thought about it, or your clients must be asking about some things like this. Help us understand that so that we know we can catch this stress wherever it starts to enter into us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really what we educate our clients on is, like you were saying, is it something we can run from? Is it something chasing us? And evolutionarily, it used to be, right? We used to be literally running from a lion and our stress, our fight or flight would kick on so that we could either fight or flee and hopefully get away safely. But unfortunately, now the stress comes from, like you were saying, it come from internal, how we talk to ourselves, the dialogue that we have internally, our mindset, but also external sources, whether that's traffic, work, family, friends, like there's opportunities for stress pretty much wherever we look. However, if we learn, like you mentioned, to recognize the signs of when stress is starting to kind of invade your consciousness, so to speak, or even your body, right? So it could be your heart rate picking up or starting to sweat a little bit or, breathing faster is something we see a lot. Those are all stress indicators. But if we start to learn our triggers, what is causing stress, then we can learn to start to mitigate that. So using the breath specifically to calm down, stay present. But really, the first step is awareness. 70% of what we do on a daily basis is unconscious. So starting to make our typical patterns a little bit more conscious, that's the first step to change.
Right, right, Lauren. So, to understand this stress, is it because of any particular industry that it starts happening? A lot of other people are also in the same industry. Say, in your case, you were into this fashion industry. A lot of people are there. A lot of people are in very cool places, but they are still anxious. So,
Sure.
how should people look? And secondly, how should they understand it is time to start doing yoga or it is some time to do something beyond that, you should visit a therapist or someone else. So I want to, help a common person wherever they are, he or she, anywhere, to actually get an understanding of the type of stress they are having, whether it is part of a daily routine or where this stress is indeed stressful.
Right. Yeah. And I think, again, kind of going back to awareness and trying to figure out, okay, well, where is the stress coming from first and foremost? And is this something that I really need to be stressed about? Is it something that I have any control of first of all? And if not, kind of looking back at our ingrained patterns, because often sometimes when we're little, we've done something that has kept us safe in the moment. And now that behavior is maladaptive. It is not keeping us safe. It's actually working against us, which can also be a cause of stress. So whether that's, you know, just being reactive or acting out, doing a certain thing to get someone's attention that's not really working, and that's causing some friction, whether it's work, being way outspoken or not saying anything at all in meetings can have different outcomes. But learning, okay, is this behavior helping me or hurting me? And how can I then, start to make some changes once I have that awareness? But I think stress does not discriminate when it comes to industry. Different industries are going to have different types of stress for sure. In fashion, we kind of used to joke like we're not saving lives. However, there are people in industries who are saving lives and they have a very different type of stress. However, it's the same physiological response in the body, right? So whether I'm dealing with a difficult customer or I'm a doctor getting ready to operate, potentially the same type of stress is happening in the body. So learning what that feels like in order to start calming the body down in order to keep the mind calm is really important.
Right, right. Now, stress can impact differently. For a common person, people may not realize it. They may feel I'm just, feeling stressful. But what are the ways this stress actually impacts you in terms of several, aspects of our life? Help us a bit.
Yeah.
This sounds a very basic thing, but we just forget about it. That how this sort of a thing is impacting us. So, if you can tell us how it impacts, different ways it impacts our daily life without us even knowing it in that depth.
Yeah. So there's different types of stress, right? There's the acute stress where it's kind of like, okay, something happens and I'm able to recover quickly. And my rest or digest nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system takes back over. However, if you are living more in a chronic stress state, that fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system is the one kind of driving the boat, so to speak, most of the time. And this really takes a toll on the body. So even for our health, things like high blood pressure, a higher resting heart rate, poor sleep, poor digestion, like the list kind of goes on. But what people I don't think understand is that the health effects of chronic stress can be really scary. It can put you at greater risk for things like stroke, heart attack, diabetes. So getting stress under control is crucial to live a long, healthy life.
Right, right. So, how should we beat this stress? Or can we cure this stress? How should we look at it?
Yeah, I think again, going back to awareness and mindset, and we use the breath as a tool to teach you how to get the breath under control, to turn back on that rest and digest, that parasympathetic nervous system that I mentioned earlier, in order to get out of the chronic stress response. This will help also with better sleep, which affects a ton of things. And it just has this trickle down effect. However, if you are breathing correctly and you've got the breath all dialed in, but you're still eating fast food every day and drinking nothing but, soda and alcohol, then we still have some issues, right? If you're getting no movement at all. So really looking at lifestyle and trying to embody a movement-based lifestyle. So getting at least 8,000 steps a day. And this can be coming from different little changes. It doesn't have to be a huge overhaul of your life. You can start by drinking water before you have any kind of stimulant in the morning. So before coffee, for example, or, parking a little bit farther away at work, taking the stairs instead of the elevator. These small changes, getting protein first thing in the morning, things to support just a healthy lifestyle. There can be little tweaks that can help support your health and longevity that also help to keep stress under control.
Right, Lauren. Now, in terms of yoga, where does yoga come in? Does it come before even the stress comes, and or should it come, or does it come? Normally, people go only make it come in their lives only after the stress has already arrived. Help us
Yeah.
understand, because I'm curious to understand for that part of the world how they look at yoga before the stress or only after the stress comes in.
Sure. Yeah. I think those of us who have found yoga before major stress has set in are among the lucky ones. A lot of the students that I see have come to yoga because they have had an injury or, they do have a lot of stress, and they've kind of found this beautiful practice that has helped them start to manage it and find those moments of presence and peace really on their mat. But I would say the sooner you can start, even if it's, 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, if you can get to a class, awesome. But it doesn't have to be, a ton of work, so to speak.
Right. So, what do they do in yoga? What is it that you do for them, for your clients, in terms of yoga? Is it more breathing? Is it much more stretching? How does it work? And how much time do you generally do? They have to come to you, or they can also do it by themselves?
Well, certainly people can do it by themselves at home or if they're traveling wherever. But I teach at a studio. I really love to focus on the union of the breath and movement together. I think those, obviously being present and moving and the body is always present no matter what the mind is doing. The body is always in the present moment. So if we can anchor ourselves to the body and also to the breath, then we can keep the mind present as well. So I really love the interplay between breath and movement, and there's a really big focus on that in the way I teach as well.
Right. Where does this energy thing, you talk about energy after, yoga and all these things and removing stress. Uh, do you have to do anything extra for energy, or when you do a lot of yoga, it can also bring a lot of energy? How do you explain this part to people?
Sure. So, well, if you're exercising regularly, no matter what the kind of exercise is, right? If your physical fitness is at a certain level, you'll have more energy. Kind of a body in motion stays in motion. Whereas if you're not doing anything, no movement ever, probably your energy levels aren't going to be very high anyway. So I think just getting movement in is really important, and then trying to check the boxes on the other kind of categories of health in your life. So nutrition, movement, like we talked about, rest in particular, because a lot of us go, 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 go all the time. I know, when I was in fashion in particular, it was this like nonstop. We were going from market to market and meeting to meeting, and there was always, excuse me, something else to be working on. And there's only a certain amount that your body can handle, of stress. And if we are missing the rest element, then we're not going to have any growth. So we have to have stress. I think stress gets a bad rap because of the negative connotations, but without stress, there's also no growth. But being able to understand how to not let the stress kind of take over your life and to have a good balance with that rest is where we're going to find the growth in whatever category it is, whether that's a workout, whether that's building resilience, in a work setting, or just in life.
Right. And what about peace and confidence? How does that bring? Means you feel peaceful after doing this sort of breath work? Where does this
I
peace come from? Does it come from yoga, or does it come not to get into situations which are stressful?
Well, I think both, right? Knowing what type of situations cause you stress, first of all, and then learning to, okay, well, if it's a situation I have to go into, how do I keep myself calm before I go into it? how do I stay calm during whatever the situation is, whether that's a meeting, a presentation, a review, a hard conversation. And then how do I kind of decompress after the fact as well? Or is it something that I can say no to? I think a lot of people, I put myself in this category as well, have a really hard time saying no. I've been working on this for, the past year in particular, but if you're saying yes to everything, you're saying no to often yourself or your well-being, and learning when you can push back and say no and have that be a really strong no and feel good about it. And that creates a lot of freedom, and I think can often help you avoid a lot of stress as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Saying no is very important. I am learning still little bit of success, especially with the type of cultural sort of a thing, that the way you are brought up, all good things, but not everyone deserves your time in priority as someone else, and that needs a lot of learning to understand.
Yeah.
What to say no, who to say yes, because as you said,
Right.
if you say yes to everything, then you'll have to say to not no to things which actually matter to you. There is much to
Right.
learn from you. There is much to learn from you, Lauren. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to understand more about how you do things. What is the way people can, know more about you, more about your coaching, get engaged with you professionally? What is the best way for them to connect with you?
Sure. My email is Lauren, just my first name, LAUREN at symmetry.live. So that's SYMMETRY.live, LIVE.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is great. Even my website ID ends with live, because this is KAJ Masterclass Live. So that is,
Yeah.
and you are the first person actually I've come across in one of any of my shows who actually has an email that website with which is ending in live. Great, great. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.